So, Megha, thank you so much for joining us on the Corona Chat. For those
Pleasure to be here.
yeah, thank you so much. For the people that don't know who you are, can you say a couple of words who you are and what you do?
Of course I can. But before I go into that, how are you doing? How's your family holding up?
Yeah, do you know, all good. Working from home. I'm actually really enjoying it. What about you?
We are enjoying it to a certain extent, but there are sure signs that we're going stir crazy as well. So I'm keen to see the other side of this as soon as we can.
Yeah. So why don't you say a couple of words around what your role is then and the company that you work for?
Of course. My name is Megha Deviprasad Iyer. I am a regulatory affairs professional. I've been in the field for about 14 years now, and I've worked across both medical devices and IVDs.
Okay.
And currently, I lead the regulatory affairs function for the microbiology division in Thermo Fisher.
Wow. So I'm guessing you're super busy right now with all the COVID.
Busy doesn't even cut it.
What's been the impact of the COVID-19 crisis on your company?
Thermo Fisher is a really large global manufacturer of diagnostics and pharmaceuticals. So as you can imagine, this is one of the situations that is invoking our purpose of existence,
Yeah, of course.
And in so many ways possible, we are trying to respond to this outbreak. In fact, I'd say that because of our scale and the depth of our capabilities, we are at the heart of it. And many of our customers have been using our products from the very early days of the outbreak, specifically around the analysis of the virus itself, as well as diagnosis and personal protection.
Yeah.
So we're very actively working with government agencies, researchers, to make sure that they have a priority access to the instruments, the consumables, and everything else that they need.
Wow. It's great to kind of hear you talking about this is kind of the very essence of your existence, and you're really being able as a company to kind of step into that and to really do good. What sort of challenges have you had to face?
Gosh, the scale and intensity of the challenge has been off the chart. It's been completely unprecedented for
Really?
My team, for sure. For example, at this moment, Thermo Fisher is producing more than 5 million tests per week.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So obviously, along with operations, our QA/RA teams have been involved in the ramp up that has led to this production level. Closer to home in my own division, we manufacture a product which is important for the transportation and the collection of the virus and the specimen. Mm-hmm. And my regulatory team has been working flat out, trying to secure emergency use authorizations and special permits for this product in 30 countries within a span of 3 weeks.
Wow.
And they've not had this kind of experience, using an emergency use pathway. So this is all learning on the fly.
So you say kind of like 30 countries in 3 weeks.
That's right.
Typically, if you weren't in kind of crisis mode, just to see really the difference, what would it typically look like?
We have a normal run rate of the registrations that feeds through our marketing system. And I would say that our workload would have increased, and this is approximately about 10 to 20% in terms of securing market access for these products.
Of course, because of the increased demand and the urgency at which obviously these products are needed. But obviously at the same time, I'm guessing, you've had that, but you've also had, I guess, the other challenge of the fact that a lot of people now are working remotely. So it's increased work and all hands on deck, but in totally different circumstances to what people are also used to.
Oh, absolutely. Because of the additional levels of work, when I spoke about the 10 to 20%, this is just the registration itself. Bear in mind, there's also work required to understand how to make this happen even. So the prep for this takes longer than the action of just doing it, getting the registration done. And so when you think about all of that, which is being done in the background of, developing personal situation, vulnerable parents, children to care for, toilet paper crises, and perhaps a plethora of mental health issues that stems from being cooped up at home. To say that people have risen to the challenge, is and they've done it beautifully would be quite an accurate thing to say now.
You sound very proud of your team and how they've managed to handle that. I can see.
Absolutely. So not only my own team, but there are other divisions working on this throughout Thermo Fisher. So, for instance, a group focused on life sciences has developed a real-time PCR product that can diagnose the virus in 4 hours. And that team was successful in obtaining the emergency use authorization for the product, in the US FDA.
Yeah.
Not only that, they got the CE marking completed as well. And now 50 countries in the world have authorized the use of this product, as a test for the virus, which is based on our gold standard technology. Elsewhere, we've modified many of our manufacturing lines to start producing components for ventilators, hand sanitizers, personal protective equipment. We're helping, people who are at the forefront of top projects developing vaccines and treatments. So we're the variety of activities that are going on that the QARA community and my other colleagues are supporting for sure is quite staggering in scale.
And let's talk a little bit about soft skills, because obviously, experience is really important. But when you're dealing with an unprecedented situation and you have to respond to that as a QARA professional, there are certain soft skills that you must possess in order to be, successful at being able to pivot in such a situation. So when you're kind of looking at your team and also yourself, I guess, what are the key skills that you really need to possess in order to be successful when you're dealing with a crisis?
My personal takeaway from this situation and responding to it is that the measure of how good you are is as good as your network is, So if a regulatory professional wants to be able to respond to any crisis, it's quite vital to have a diverse group of subject matter experts that they can talk to and share ideas with, no matter how bonkers or crazy that idea sounds at first, but you have a group, a sounding board to perhaps help you refine some of those. And it works both ways. So I think the power of cultivating and nurturing these informal relationships where you can pick up the phone and where you have a steep learning curve, you ask a question and or able to provide a response as well. I think that can't be underestimated. That becomes really powerful in this situation. So I'd say that don't wait for the crisis to come to start on this. This type of networking skill will hold you good throughout your career. So seek out opportunities to build this network.
What do you think would be the longer term impact kind of the COVID crisis when it comes to work culture, that type of thing?
I can't comment on the longer term, but on the short term, I would like to see the final nail in the coffin of presenteeism and the 9 to 5 sort of work pattern.
Okay.
There just has to be more work-life flux or flow or whatever you want to call it. The way this has a potential to be an advantage to employers is that, many companies already as a norm are able to hire RA professionals who are remote. And I talk about RA particularly because this field lends itself very well to the kind of flexibility that can be afforded, right? It's a non-manufacturing function. So work can be done from a remote location. And so when you think about how many individuals may have had or may have been bereft of opportunities because they've needed this flexibility, and there were traditionalists who weren't able to, for whatever reason, give that flexibility. Now those employers have proof that this can work, and with the right checks and balances in place, it just opens us to a wider talent pool. And Eleanor, you know this better than anyone else, that finding good RA professionals, especially with everything else going on, even without this crisis, was so hard. So can you imagine if we could, without any geographic constraints or personal pressure constraints, hire the best person for the job that you can find, and not worry about, how often they can come into work and be present in the meetings. So
100%. I 100% agree with everything that you've just said, because I think that, companies have really been forced to kind of step into and embrace technology. Yeah. And the companies that will succeed moving forwards will be the ones that take what they've learned, refine it, but continue to do it, as opposed to going back to the old ways. And especially in regulatory, especially in Europe, which is the market obviously where we're strongest, the talent pool is so small, and people tend to be quite risk averse, right? So by only saying, okay, we need to hire somebody, that doesn't have a longer commute than 1 hour, that is very local to our office, that X, Y, and Z, the company has a very restricted talent pool. But conversely, obviously, by opening that up, and saying, look, we just want to get the best person for this job, and they could be based wherever, we'll find a way to make that work, because we know it can.
Yeah.
Not only is that company going to have much better talent, but when you have better talent, you get better results, so.
Absolutely. But there's another side of the coin to that. So it's not just important to bring on diverse talent. It takes a bit of creativity and empathy to include those people who now become part of the company's talent, right? Because, gone are the days where you would think about a traditional away day to bring everyone together. While those kind of things still have their importance, but more around how can I make people feel more included, in a virtual setting, in a remote setting. Those kind of skills are going to take a little bit of creativity and thinking.
Mm-hmm. Well, in any case, I think it's going to be really exciting to see kind of how everything develops and how employers will continue, hopefully, to embrace, technology and the virtual world. Megha, I think it's been so interesting speaking with you. Thank you so much for your time. I really kind of appreciated hearing kind of the challenges, and also the learning points, and also where you see this all going. So it's been absolutely fascinating.
Thank you very much for having me here. And I want to wish our viewers good health, and want to take this opportunity to say, stay safe as you are, and we will see through the end of this. There's too many clever, dedicated individuals like our community and beyond working on this. And we're going to see the other side of this really soon.
Thank you for your words of positivity there, Megha.
You're
Have
welcome.
a lovely day. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.